Get all these films. Get all these stars. Christmas 2002.
Well then, come on, baby, I'm ready.
I can't make that turn. Focus on that spot.
There's a bomb on your butt!
The biggest movies. This Christmas only on BBC One.
The Christmas double issue of Radio Times has full details of both films and BBC programmes on during the festive season, and listings for all major free-to-air and other television channels.
Now you can get 8 BBC channels, including world cinema and exclusive drama.
You can already get these new BBC channels with others on cable and satellite, but now you can also get them on Freeview, a new package of 30 channels.
You can get Freeview by plugging an adapter into your TV. It costs around £99, one-off payment, no contract.
Television, it's evolving.
For your free guide, call 08700 10 10 10.
Off to Longleat for a new week at the Animal Park in 10 minutes on BBC Two, right after the news, with Hugh Edwards.
Good afternoon. The convicted fraudster Peter Foster, who helped Cherie Blair buy property, has publicly apologised to the Blairs for the mess he's got them into. He insisted that Cherie Blair hadn't interfered in his fight to avoid deportation from Britain, but had merely given him her professional view of where he stood.
As far as I was concerned, I was simply a friend helping a friend. I did not seek anything in return, although I remain appreciative of the later innocent advice given to me by Cherie. At no time did she seek to interfere with the legal processes, nor did I ask her to.
Peter Foster, let's talk to our political correspondent Jonathan Beale, who's in Downing Street. Jonathan, what's the word there in Downing Street in Westminster? Was this statement all that it was meant to be?
Well, no killer facts here, Hugh, though there is one important discrepancy, and that is that Downing Street and Mrs. Blair maintain that she only met Peter Foster once, whereas in that statement he said that he spoke to Mrs. Blair on 3 separate occasions, something that we haven't been told about before. But on the key issue of did she interfere in his deportation case, both are agreed she did not. So I think to some extent this does get both Downing Street and him off the hook. He says he's been the victim of a character assassination by the press, and Downing Street are giving us no further details. They're saying they're refusing to comment more on this case, so they hope it's gone away.
They hope it's gone away, but are they going to be disappointed?
Well, the Prime Minister here making clear he's got more important issues. He's been meeting the President of Syria. He's also been in the Commons giving a statement on the European Union summit. There is one sting in the tail, and that is we know that Peter Foster, he said he is going to write his autobiography, and in that autobiography there's going to undoubtedly be a large chapter on Cherie Blair, and we just wonder, all of us, what's going to be in that. Is there going to be any more facts?
Jonathan, thanks very much. The Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, as Jonathan was saying, has been holding talks in Downing Street with Mr. Blair. Both leaders recognised that they had differences of opinion, especially over the war in Iraq. Mr. Blair described the discussions as good and pledged to continue the dialogue. Tugboats have towed away a cargo ship which ran into a wreck in the English Channel last night. The Nicola had collided with the freighter Tricolor, which went down on Saturday with its load of nearly 3,000 luxury cars lying on its side, blocking one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. A 68-year-old man has been found guilty of murdering his wife and 2 children 27 years ago. John Allen had denied murdering his wife Patricia and their children Jonathan, who was 7, and Victoria, who was 5, in 1975 at Salcombe in Devon. He said they'd left for a new life in America. The independent review of the fire service, headed by Sir George Bain, has recommended an 11% pay rise over 2 years in exchange for wide-ranging modernisation. The report's been welcomed by Downing Street, but dismissed as irrelevant by the Fire Brigades Union.
A huge fire in the West Midlands, and 130 firefighters at work early this morning at a Redditch oil depot were deploying all their skills. They won't be amused to hear the news from London. A review of the fire service says they aren't underpaid for a job where the skills are roughly the same as those of a car mechanic. Only radical changes in the way firefighters work can bring them higher pay. The Bain report says if firefighters sign up to modernisation, they can get an 11% rise over 2 years. Savings would make the whole package self-funding over 3 years. And while there's no explicit talk of job cuts, the report assumes there'd be at least 3,000 fewer firefighters. The Fire Brigades Union disagrees profoundly with many of the key recommendations of this report, but it's now going to be the Bible for both the employers and the government. If there is to be a settlement, somebody's going to have to back down a very long way. The union says Bain is irrelevant and strikes are still planned at the end of January if there's no acceptable pay offer. Today's report has mapped out a future for the fire service, but it leaves little room for manoeuvre.
Scotland Yard's anti-terrorist branch has warned people to be extra vigilant in the run-up to Christmas. It says the threat from dissident Irish Republican terrorists has not gone away, even though the main focus over the past year has been on Al-Qaeda. House prices could drop by around 20% in the next few years. The prediction from Capital Economics, an independent consultancy, is the steepest in a number of recent warnings, suggesting that there's an end to the housing boom in sight. That's it. There'll be more for you on BBC News 24 throughout the afternoon and evening. I'll be back at 6 o'clock on BBC One. Bye for now.
One of the female rhinos at the animal park is coming into season, as they put it. But who's got the horn? Find out in 5 minutes.
This is BBC Two Southwest.
Good afternoon. John Allen has been found guilty of murdering his wife and 2 young children 27 years ago. Allen, who's now 68, has been jailed for life. His wife Patricia, 6-year-old Jonathan and 5-year-old Victoria were last seen in Salcombe in 1975. Their bodies have never been found. Philip Bloat reports.
There was no emotion from Allen when the jury foreman read out the unanimous verdict after 9 hours deliberation. Just a slight hunching of the shoulders.
You have kept your terrible secret, Mr. Justice Steele told John Allen, but your characteristic dishonesty and your account of what happened has convinced the jury that there is no possible explanation other than you murdered them.
Mr. Allen is devastated at the outcome of this case. He maintains his innocence and he has instructed his lawyers to give advice on appeal.
Eunice Yabsley was a key prosecution witness and for 12 years Allen's partner. She told the trial she'd seen scratch marks on his arm the day after Pat Allen disappeared.
I sort of had memories of the way I used to feel about him when I first came into court. But sitting listening to the evidence, every vestige of feeling I ever had for him has gone now. I think he's a psychopath. That's an unqualified opinion, but I do think he is, yes.
John Allen had told the court that his wife had left him after an argument and had returned 2 days later to collect the children. The police, who reopened this investigation after 25 years, never believed the story.
To have murdered his wife that fateful May bank holiday in 1975, in whatever circumstances, was a despicable enough act. But no words can describe the sheer evil of a man who can then 2 nights later, by his own hands, in cold blood, murder his 2 young children.
John Allen was described during this trial as a man who can't tell truth from lies. He is, though, the only one who knows exactly what happened all those years ago.
Around 100 firefighters have spent the morning tackling a warehouse fire in Exeter. The building in the Marsh Barton industrial estate is still standing but is believed to be in danger of collapse. No one was injured. The cause of the blaze is under investigation. Council tax may rise by up to as much as 20% next year for some people living in Devon. The County Council says it has a £32 million deficit. No final decision has been made. Tomorrow's weather briefly mainly dry with some sunny spells. The top temperature 8 Celsius in a chilly and fresh to strong east-northeasterly wind. Our next update is at 6:30 on BBC One. Till then, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Changes are on the way. First of all, it gets brighter but colder and frosty. And then late in the week, it gets milder but more unsettled with some rain. Now, we still have some rain at the moment. See here on the latest radar picture, mostly across the Midlands, one or two spits and spots in other eastern areas as well. That's going to persist throughout the evening and night. In the west, though, as skies clear, it's going to turn out to be a pretty cold night. There will be a widespread frost, fairly sharp frost in parts of Scotland. And to go with it, some icy patches on those roads and fog too. And then tomorrow for central and eastern areas, we start off grey and cloudy. Again, still a little bit of rain or maybe sleet here and there. Very gradually that will die out and brighter weather will ease across from the west. But it's going to stay cloudy, I think, in those easternmost parts. Best of any brightness, again, in the northwestern corner. But in parts of Scotland, the odd fog patch could linger throughout the day. Now, despite the brighter weather, it's not going to be particularly warm, 5, 6, 7 degrees or so at best. Into Wednesday again, we start off with some frost around, some fog patches too, some of them lingering in the north. Otherwise, basically, it should be a dry, bright but rather cold day with some sunshine. The wind picking up in southwestern corner, though, that'll make it feel pretty chilly. And that stronger wind will ease a little bit further north through the country on Thursday. So a decided chill in the air, I think. In the north, though, winds will be lighter. So we start off with the frost and we maybe keep some of the fog patches right through the day. But by Friday, we're going to see milder weather moving into southern parts at the same time as thickening cloud and outbreaks of rain. The north, very little change. That's all from me. A very good afternoon to you.
The thing about paying your TV licence by direct debit is that it's a great way of spreading the cost.
Right, so how did
Do you know how little it can cost a month?
Yes, I do.
Have a guess.
But I know.
No, but have a guess, though.
No, but I know the answer. It's just over £9 a month.
No, but have a guess.
Well, all right, £15.
£15? That's rubbish.
Okay, 12. No, 300.
To find out how little it can cost to pay your television licence by direct debit, call 0800 328 2020. To give you a start, the answer's just over £9 a month.
Your normal diet of Ready, Steady, Cook and The Weakest Link still to come on BBC Two after some wild things.